Hello, everyone, and welcome to a bonus segment of the Brothers Take podcast. My name is Kris. I'm joined by my brother Eric.
Hello.
We are back in the room for this bonus segment to give a review of Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. This is because it's only a bonus review. It's going to be quite short. It's not going to be like one of our long episodes or anything like that. But we will split it up into two parts. That is a non-spoiler review first, and then we can get into spoilers. So if people haven't seen the movie and just want to hear our thoughts on it, you can check out the review aspect. Versus if you've seen it and you want to hear more nitty-gritty details, then stick around for the spoiler part, or you can use the timestamps in the description to jump straight into the spoiler part. But Eric,
hmm
starting with our non-spoiler thoughts, what did you think of Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga?
I liked it for sure. There were some things that seemed a bit off to me when watching the movie, but I definitely still felt like this belonged to the Mad Max world. I preferred Fury Road, but this kind of helped reinforce the grotesqueness of the world, which I kind of liked. I thought the performances were damn solid in it. That's kind of my non-spoiler review.
Fair enough, fair enough.
I don't want to be getting into too many details
Yeah, yeah,
straight away.
okay. So I also liked the movie, but didn't love it.
Hmm.
And wouldn't go see it in cinema again personally.
Right.
I think it pales in comparison to Fury Road. So take that how you will. I did like the movie, but I think Fury Road is one of the best action movies ever made,
It's
and I
very
think
good.
this is not to that quality or standard. Um, the action is good. Like some of the action sequences are really good, and some of the performances are really strong. Chris Hemsworth is fantastic in the movie. Um, but it does like a lot of the CGI is crap. I really didn't enjoy the CGI at all, and it took me out of the movie quite a lot, especially like real fake looking backgrounds and stuff. Often the characters looked like they had been kind of um
Superimposed almost.
superimposed, yeah, and it looked really odd. Versus with Fury Road, everything looked in camera. Everything looked so visceral and so real.
Well, with Fury Road, they use CGI to enhance
Yeah,
the environment, while in this, it seems that they use CGI to create the environment.
yeah. So when you put that aside, what you do have is a really good movie, good story, good performances, good action. Music is good. Um, but I think if you're hoping it's going to be that same quality as Fury Road, then it's definitely not. Um, and I also it's a strange feeling because they've been talking about this prequel for a long time,
Hmm.
ever since Fury Road came out, and it felt a little bit like Avatar: The Way of Water, where it's like it's been so long that you kind of need to, like, I don't know, reestablish the franchise almost, because it's sort of like it's just like we'll just assume you remember this, right? And now
Hmm.
I do, because I love Fury Road and I've seen it loads of times, but there is this sort of just like assumption, like as if, yeah, that was yesterday. Do you remember? Like if this movie came out 2 years after Fury Road, I think it would
Right.
I think it would hit differently. But it's been a long time. So, um, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Thought it was good. It's worth a watch. Um,
If you like the kind of Fury Road, if you didn't like Fury Road, maybe don't watch this movie.
if you didn't like Fury Road, you definitely won't like this movie, because
It
Fury Road is
is.
so much better. So if you didn't like that, there's no way you're gonna like this movie. But also, yeah, if you don't like that world,
Hmm.
it's much more. It's more of that world, and I do think this movie does a really good job at building the mythology of the
Right.
world and the
Yeah.
characters. Yeah. Um. So yeah, that's our non-spoiler review, guys. Go check it out. It's good. We enjoyed it. Good performances, good action. But now let's get into the spoilers, right? So aside from the uh, CGI, which we weren't crazy about and really took us out of
No.
the moment a lot of the time,
No.
right? Like stuff didn't look great. Um, were there any other complaints you had, Eric, that are more specific?
I thought it was shit. No, I'm joking.
Get out of here, you.
Yeah, complaints. I, I sometimes I kind of thought pacing was weird
Mm.
at points. I was kind of getting to a point of it where I was waiting for Furiosa to become Furiosa.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so that only happens at the end of the movie. And my God, now she's Furiosa. But anything else I didn't really I don't know. Yeah, I kind of just thought that the pacing of it was like good, but not as exhilarating as Fury Road.
It's a slower movie, isn't it, than
It's
Fury Road?
definitely a slower movie.
Slower and
It's
longer.
slower, longer, and definitely much more. It's a character movie for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, it's literally in the title. Like it's the character's name, so it is a
yeah,
character movie more than it is. I suppose that's the thing about Fury Road. The Fury Road is the character, and they're all just on
yeah, yeah.
that character's journey, I suppose. So that's why they're
I
on the road
liked
and be like,
I liked the way this movie was broken up into chapters. I thought that was really cool.
yeah, that's Zack Snyder's a blueprint right there. Yeah,
It
no,
did
I'm
it
joking.
it did
It's
remind me of that though.
yeah, yeah.
I
But
won't
no, I
like I
did
can't
like
lie.
that.
Yeah.
No, I did like that. It adds to that artistic kind of idea that even Fury Road has, as well as Furiosa has. That by breaking it into chapters, this is a story. This is a book. This is a mythology that we're being
Yeah.
transported into. Um, so yeah, I like that stuff. I liked her relationship with your man. I was like her tutor, I suppose.
Oh,
The
Jack?
That's it. His name. Yeah, Predator
Praetorian
Jack.
Jack or something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I like their relationship. I did think he was going to betray her at first,
Yeah,
and
I
he
did
did.
not trust him at all, but mainly because I was like,
This world is horrible.
I don't trust anyone.
Yeah. Then I thought they were maybe gonna force in some romance. Um, maybe there was, maybe there wasn't, but I do like that they don't have to be like, oh, now there's a sex scene. They don't because that's actually not always needed and stuff. Um, but I do wish that when he died, there was more to it.
Yeah, it I that was one scene that disappointed me a little bit because they had built up these two great characters,
Mm,
and they're the fight sequence where they were escaping Bullet Town
yes.
for me was the highlight of the movie. Everything from the way it was shot, the choreography, that was fucking awesome. Him with the little Winchester going around shooting people, the headshots, like you nearly felt them.
Mm,
Um, I thought that was great. But yeah, and then his death kind of happens off camera, and
yeah.
so does her losing her arm. Not the
Yes.
first. The first impact on her arm is like, oh my god, holy shit,
Yes.
right?
I looked at you. Your jaw was hitting the floor.
I was like, holy fuck, like, because that whole sequence kept the pacing, like that was really
Yes.
strong. But then to have her actually remove the arm to escape, but you don't see her do it. I felt not that I want to watch her do it, like, and I had no idea how she loses her arm going in.
Mm,
In truth, I thought it was going to be a thing because she had the tattoos on her arm the whole way through of the map.
mm,
I thought someone was going to click what that was, and eventually she was going to cut her own arm off to save her people. Kind
mm.
of. That's where I thought it was going. I was like, oh, that's definitely like they're spending a lot. Like they keep showing the map and everything, and she's trying her best to hide it. Like that's how this whole story started. Is her trying to make sure that no one finds out about her green
The green
place.
place. Yeah.
Um, so I was really surprised by how gritty the rest of the movie was, and not shy of showing certain things.
Mm.
That we didn't see her actually lose her arm, which I felt is probably a huge character moment for her because, one of her defining features of Fury Road is the robot arm.
Yep. Then yeah, you don't see her lose the arm. You also apparently no one else sees her lose the arm.
Yeah, just a strange scene that didn't
It's
really
a
make sense. Like that they're all in a circle standing around them. But because Chris Hemsworth's character has his back to her, what, no one else can see her? Like
apparently not.
how
So
did she get away?
she gets her arm off,
And in the middle of a
which would
desert, where did she
hurt
go?
in the desert. Steals a car
Yeah.
and no one notices. No, it is a weird. That's a weird scene. And Jack's death is a little kind of like Oh, really? That's it.
Yeah,
And like, she doesn't really. I suppose in that world you can't get too connected to people, but I suppose yeah, there's just almost there's almost no emotion to that moment when he's dying.
yeah.
Um,
And there should have been because like how he dies is actually horrible.
it is horrible. He's getting slowly. It's like a desert version of in not live and let die.
For
Bloody
your eyes
hell.
only.
No,
For your eyes only.
that's not what I was thinking of. But maybe if does a guy get eaten by dogs in Fears Only?
Oh no, sorry. I thought you were thinking of it like a desert version of the where they tie them up,
Oh, and they're dragging him through the water.
drag them through the water, and let sharks eat them. Like I that's what I was thinking of.
Oh yeah, then yeah, it's very that. I
Yeah.
was actually more because I was more thinking of the oh my god, what is the name of that Timothy Dalton movie that has 15s and they lower your man into the yoke and the sharks are slowly eating at his legs? That's what
License
I
to
was
Kill.
actually License to Kill. Thank you very much. That's
Yeah.
what I was actually thinking of. But no, you're bang on. It's like for your eyes only, and that is a horrible way to die.
Yeah.
And it's barely played upon. It was the only person she could trust. But in saying that, Bullet Town was awesome. It was awesome to see Bullet Town. It was awesome to see
Gastown.
Gas Town, Bullet Farm and Gas Town, and then the
Yeah,
Citadel.
that's it. Yeah, yeah.
So it was
Um, I was gonna
uh,
say as well. I do think we mentioned it in the non-spoiler part. Chris Hemsworth is just fantastic. Like he's brilliant. I think
he's very good.
he chews up the scenery. Anytime he's on screen, he really like he's a vile, horrible character, and yet incredibly charismatic.
Hmm.
I liked him, and I hated him at the same time. I think
Yeah,
he did a really good job at um, and he was sort of like this, especially when you first meet him. He was like a giant man child kind of thing. He still carried his teddy bear around,
but then you find
and
out that
it's
that's his daughter's or something or his child's.
was it? I didn't. I know he mentioned that he had a family, but I didn't catch. Um,
Oh well, I kind of picked up then that was symbolic of that, which is why he keeps the Furiosa, the child, and then gives the mind that now. You know, like
and
he's wanting to adopt.
he calls her his daughter, and
Mm.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot more to the character than just being a vile bastard. Like,
Yeah, which then adds to the fact that nearly everyone in that world had something, and then once you're in the desert, that's it. You're going to become a vile bastard.
and one of the best sequences in the whole movie was her revenge against him.
It's a very good one. Mm.
It's like the music stopped, the emotions got really high. Anya Taylor-Joy is fucking brilliant in the scene where she was like, "Give them back the things you
Mm.
took, give it back," and he's like, "You can't have it back." You know what I mean? Like what
Mm.
you want, you'll never have, and even if you kill me, it like you can't get back what you want. Those years have been taken, and you can never get them back. I thought that was the best part of the movie, and her driving slowly, tiring him out in the desert, like was such a and there was nothing he could do about it. Like I
Mm.
just thought the whole thing was brilliant, and then his actual
His actual face is
what she did
oh,
to him is horrible.
Jesus Christ.
It was
Just yet
horrible.
again adds to it, doesn't it? Just adds to the gruesomeness of the world because even like a lot of the stuff that they say in it,
Mm,
you know, they say it so naturally. Like, yeah, of course, you know. But when you're like when we hear it, it's like holy fuck. Like I think when we're first exposed to Immortan Joe's room or his vault of all the women, and he has
yeah,
the organic mechanic working on the girl who's pregnant. She's giving birth, and it turns out the baby is a Siamese twin who's dead. And she's like, no, I can give another one. It's like, oh, don't worry, you'll be a milker. And like, you know,
yeah,
they
it's
all say it so
horrible.
naturally, and it's disgusting. It's horrible that the life
Yeah,
that they've been forced to. But yeah, and then it just got you got this weird pacing thing going on. That's just kind of weird.
I think, and it's like I think the child actor was really good, really
Mm,
strong, and looked so like Anya Taylor Joy. It's
yes.
incredible. but I think the movie picks up drastically when Anya Taylor-Joy comes into it.
Well, it
I,
becomes Fury World, Fury Road then more so.
yeah, I think the second half of the movie is much stronger, even in looks. Like
Mm.
I think everything about it, music picks up. I think everything about the movie gets better in the second half of the movie, and I think the first half is very slow and where they needed to chop out some stuff,
Mm.
like needlessly long as well.
I felt there was moments in the movie where I was like, stop doing that. Right? And my body would
Oh yeah, yeah,
go.
like the guy who plays with his
Oh
nipples.
yeah, just stop, because his
Horrible. Yeah,
nipples are pierced and then he's playing with them. And it's like stop.
yeah, yeah.
Actually,
I hate
also
that.
when
I
Chris
hate that.
Hemsworth's nipples were ripped off, that was
Oh
also
God. Oh,
uh.
stop. Why does this world hate nipples?
And then when Furiosa was realizing that Rictus was taking a liking to her,
Oh
um,
yeah.
and
And
then
she,
when she
she
had to
started
get
cutting her own hair.
yeah, she had to fucking use like a fucking dull blade or something to cut out her hair, and I was like, oh, this is fucking disgusting. The horrible world.
Yeah, yeah. That's a strong scene though.
Very strong scene.
It was a powerful
Nowhere like
scene.
the good thing about George Miller, I find, is that in both Furiosa and Fury Road is that he manages to convey a lot without words.
Hmm.
In just the symbology and the actions and people's, the way they look and stuff like that. And in that way, you kind of just get a sense of the world. You get a sense of how people are thinking, um, without ever really having to take everything away.
Yeah, yeah. Um, there was something else I was going to say that has gone completely out of my head, but I think this movie would have benefited from being a bit shorter,
Mm.
tighter in pacing, and less CGI.
Yes, fix
Uh,
that CGI.
yeah, and because the action scenes were good, the performances were good, and the story that's being told is good.
Mm.
But there's just it's needlessly bloated,
Yeah, that's fair.
and that's what I think puts it. When I say that Fury Road is much better, what brings Furiosa down is that Fury Road is like one of the best paced films I've ever seen. It's just like a roller coaster ride that doesn't stop the moment it starts to the moment it ends.
Mm.
As well as having a really interesting world and characters and emotions and stuff like that, you know. And there's even a weird bit in this movie where they talk about a war in the desert
Right.
and they just sort of skip over it. And it's the war between Immortan Joe and Dementus.
Oh, the 40-day road war or desert war or road war or something like that.
Yeah, and it's like that sounds really cool. Actually, I'd like to see some of that. Like,
Yeah, it's kind of like in Matrix Resurrections when it's like, oh, there was a war between machines. Why are we not seeing that? That
yeah,
sounds
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I would rather watch that actually. Oh, yeah, one of the you pointed out a really cool thing to me that I didn't know about because there's the two. Is it Rictus and
Scrotus.
Scrotus? Right? Yeah, yeah. I was looking at him going, okay, I don't recognize him from Fury Road, so he obviously dies in this movie.
Mm,
And he didn't. And I went,
no.
that's really weird. How come he didn't die? And then you said he's actually from the Mad Max video game,
Yeah.
which is a pretty cool tie-in, I thought.
Yeah, and apparently I think George Miller doesn't like the game, so I thought it was really cool that he still
Acknowledges the
include.
mythology.
Yeah, he still acknowledges him to
Yeah.
have the and Scrotus, I think, becomes leader of Gastown, I think, in the game.
Hmm.
Um, he's a bit different. He's a bit actually. His design is almost reminiscent of your man from Mad Max 2. You know, the guy with the hockey mask, the villain.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
His design's a little reminiscent of that, and he has on his like talk piece, I suppose. He has like a big spike stick, put like a horn thing sticking up. That's kind of like
Jesus.
Scrotus' design. Um, but yeah, that's why he. But I thought it was cool to include him in that.
Yeah, no, definitely. It
Yeah.
was a cool little tidbit. And I didn't know about the character because I've never played the Mad Max game.
Mm.
So um it was handy to have someone who did beside me to be like, no, that's who that is. Cool, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I like
the
the bit actually when Dementus first shows up and there's massive army, and it's like, holy fuck, where is this gonna go?
mm,
And then Morton, and then they choose like a person to fight on behalf of a Morton Joe, and then your man just sprays and then jumps and it blows up the whole thing.
To just highlight that all of my guys
Are willing to die.
would die for me. So
Yeah. And
because
then
he was talking to them, he said, "Look, use I'm gonna liberate all of you."
yeah.
And then it was like, you clearly don't know what's going on here. Like,
Yeah.
these guys worship this dude, so it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, and then the rest of them just jump down. There's a big giant battle scene. It's pretty cool.
Um,
Yeah, I think there was a lot of CGI there.
but then the CGI kicked in and had the
yeah.
weird like trucks getting pulled up and nothing looked, and even the people looked fake, and it was just like, oh man, like what the hell. I will say though, the action sequence as well with the truck and the parachutes
Oh, that was so cool.
was fucking great. Like
Yes.
like when the action is good, it's really good, and that's when the movie is at its most fun, I think. And then there is some of the really good kind of emotional moments, like the ending with Furiosa and Dementus was really strong. Dementus.
That is such weird names.
But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts of the movie. I would watch it again, but I it wouldn't be I like with Fury Road. As soon as it ended, I was like, I need to go back in the cinema and watch that again because that was just fucking insane, and I don't have that feeling with this one.
Yes,
but I do want to see more Mad Max movies. So
I thought as well this one actually was way more saturated, if that's the right. Or the contrast or something. It was like a lot higher than
the colors
it was.
were definitely different to Fury Road.
Yeah, Fury Road is everything looks scorched, but in a believable way. But this one looks like
it's in sepia.
Yeah, it's in sepia filter, or it's like this is a CGI movie trying to convey a scorched world. If that makes sense. So it's like overly red.
Yeah.
You know? Compared to the other one, which is there is a red hue, but it's just enough that it makes the land look very hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder why Jack and Furiosa put is it oil or grease or something on their forehead? Does that stop them from sweating?
I don't know what the purpose is. Maybe it's just like war paint kind of thing.
Huh.
Or maybe it's to show your position within their
society,
yeah. I don't know.
Maybe then.
Maybe it's the Praetorian thing. That's to say, like, this is why I get to drive the truck. I have this title. But I don't know. They never really explained it. Any final thoughts on Furiosa before we finish up our bonus review?
I was kind of half expecting, like when they built the rig the first time, I was like, that looks a lot different to the rig in Fury Road. And then obviously when I got destroyed, I was like, oh, that's not the rig from Fury Road. Because I thought it was, because even the fact that they have the compartment where the war boy was sitting on all the cabbages, like I thought that was the compartment then where all the wives were in the in Fury Road. But so I would have liked to have seen maybe her rig actually get built, but then that doesn't need to be conveyed, I suppose.
No, not really. No. For me, final thoughts, I suppose, just it was a good movie. I enjoyed it, not as much as I would have liked to, I think. I would have liked more from it, and I would have liked it to have looked closer to Fury Road. I think the trailers that looked a bit strange were actually representative of how the movie looks. And I don't know why, but I kind of hoped that the trailers were kind of unfinished almost, and that the film would look better. But it is very distracting, but all the action is fucking great. And like we said before, there's some standout performances and some great storytelling. So I want to see more from the Mad Max universe. But we want to know what you guys thought. If you saw Furiosa and Mad Max Saga, what did you think of the movie? Maybe you liked it much more than we did, or maybe you liked it much less than we did, or maybe you're in the same boat as us where you're like, I enjoyed it and I liked lots of stuff about it, but maybe not as much as Fury Road before it. Do let us know. So if you watch this YouTube, jump down in the comments, share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this, please give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell for future content. And to those of you listeners on audio platforms, you can also touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Brothers Take. Again, to give your take on Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. Thank you very much for checking out this bonus review. We'll be back to talk to you guys next time.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.